Hello, YouTube land. Yes, what you see in my hand is in fact a cigarette. Like many people, I could be called a smoker. I don't call myself a smoker, but for good reason. One, I don't smoke unless I am obscenely stressed out. And given everything my life has already forced me to go through, it takes a lot, okay? Two, when I was in high school, originally, I took up cloves, which I think we all went through at a certain point in our lives. And my mother, my now long dead mother, hated the smell. Hated it. Now, she smoked a pack of Marlboros and a pack of Newport menthols per day. That's 2 packs, okay? And she decided that since she didn't like the smell, and since it was too late to unring the bell, because I was obviously already smoking, that she would give me a pack of her Marlboro cigarettes because I hated menthols. I hated the smell. I had tried them. I hated the taste. So she decided to give me a pack of her Marlboro red, full strength cigarettes. Well, eventually she dialed it back to the mediums. So I would be smoking Marlboro red mediums. And then I became a chain smoker, like so many people who get addicted do. And I was smoking the better part of a pack of Marlboro red medium 100s every day. When I started working full-time, after my mother died, after I finished high school at night school, after I had moved out on my own, I was actually working a full-time 40-hour retail job plus 3 or 4 nights a week as a cashier slash dishwasher slash appetizer cook slash delivery driver at a Brit indie restaurant in Portland. And I did that for a year. In the first few months of that, I was still finishing school, so that's how my life was. But I was doing so much and working so hard that I didn't want to spend my money on cigarettes. There were other things I could waste money on that weren't as detrimental. And so I stopped. Just up and quit. And then I had my gastric bypass surgery, and I got really, really adult-style thin, which for me is about 180 pounds. And things were fine. Things were good. I felt okay. And then I moved back to New York, and for the first year, it was all right. Liz and I were still together, and we were living together, and it was what it was. But then, as so often is the case in life, shit hit the fan. And for several months, it was incredibly stressful and rough on me. And whatever money I did have, I was spending on cigarettes. And I was hanging around outside Hunter, bumming cigarettes whenever I could manage it to make mine last longer. Which, again, I think all smokers have done. The last few weeks and months, I have been working on getting my act together health-wise. I've been doing this as a form of therapy for myself. I haven't been smoking. I have taken up regular working out at least 4 days a week, which for me is a lot, from 0 to 4 days a week. And I've started having my daily smoothies, which I posted a video about the other day, which I have part of right here. This one has spinach, flax, pineapple juice, acai pomegranate juice, frozen raspberries, banana, and lactose-free vanilla yogurt. And a bit of ice for thickness. And it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's very good. I mean, if I stuck to things like this in V8, I could do a liquid diet. I could. Might not be necessarily the most cost-effective thing because I drink a lot of fluids because I have dehydration issues, but I could do it. At least that's what I want to believe, and that's what I tell myself. But here's the thing. Deep down, I'm still a fat girl. I mean, yeah, I'm fat right now, but a fundamental part of how I see myself got locked in high school, which, again, it does for a lot of us. And at that point, I was the fat girl. I mean, I started high school overweight. I was 180 pounds when I started high school and rapidly got bigger, which is why I needed gastric bypass at the age of 20. There's number one. So every time I get stressed, and I mean obscenely, excessively stressed, given everything I've already been through in life, I revert to bad habits and vices. Again, not that unusual. Most human beings will do that. But in my case, my vices get really self-destructive. Because you got to remember, growing up, I was dealing with suicidal ideation. Once or twice, I tried to overdose, but apparently my pill tolerance is too high. Thanks, Mom. Genetics at work. The smoking, overeating. The truth of the matter is, before my gastric bypass, and actually in the last few years, my tolerance for drinking is pretty up there. I mean, it really is. Strictly speaking, you could legitimately say I have the ability to drink like a fish. I mean, to this day, I've only met one person who comes close to being able to drink the way I do. And I haven't spoken to her in a very, very long time. Yeah, very long time. So, I'm left to deal with these vices alone. And there are better ways of dealing with them. 25 out of my 29 years, I was in therapy full-time. So really, it's kind of amazing to me I never got committed to a psychiatric hospital. And the only reason I never did is that every time my mother threatened me with it, every time, I'd look her dead in the eye and say, "Bitch, I really fucking hope you do. I need a vacation from your ass." So she never sent me. She'd rather have me home under her boot heel, easy to control and manipulate, rather than send me somewhere I might get help and get healthy and get away from her. So I saved myself a psychiatric institution by asking for it. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I do and don't talk about, not just on this, but just in life in general. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best procedure, but I mean, everyone's got to have some sort of private, internal, personal life, right? Although I suppose that's the other thing I should be really conscious of. We saw my in-laws over the weekend, and I gave, the address, the website address of this particular YouTube page to my mother-in-law, who's a very nice lady. I got very lucky, especially as a stereotype Jewish situations go. The psychotic old Jewish woman in my life is my grandmother. My mother-in-law is actually a very pleasant, relatively soft-spoken, quiet person who I get along with very well when I see them. Her and my father-in-law. Him, not so much. Long, complicated story. We're polite with each other, but I'm still somewhat pissed off at him for other things. But I gave her the address to this particular YouTube page, and my father-in-law, I guess, had reservations about watching it, and they weren't quite clear on why I do it, or what's involved, or what I say, and I don't know. The truth of the matter is that exactly what I told them. There's nothing I say that I post that I haven't been over 100 times. I have a very clear, full disclosure policy. I don't like doing things behind people's backs. I don't like being shady about stuff. But you gotta remember, when I record these, I'm home. Alone. Just me and the cat. I don't have to be quiet for roommates, family members. I don't intend on screaming, so I'm not worried about pissing off the neighbors, all of whom we get along with, basically. I just have to worry about train of thought, because I don't like to record scripted pieces, necessarily speaking. I like free-form thought. I like running off at the mouth. That's why I do this. Because it's cathartic and therapeutic. So, I can only roll the dice as to what she may or may not think of these. I mean, as I said, I talk a lot, so the odds of watching one straight through aren't very high. But it's true. I have to be aware of it. And if this is the first one she watches, it's the first one she watches. I mean, it's not like I don't swear in everyday life, although I do tone it down around Sam's family. My family, good lord, it's like a sailor convention. Everything is cursing. Everything. And that's fine for us. That's how we've always been. It doesn't bother anyone, you know. But I take a lot of getting used to. A lot of getting used to. Many days of my life, I'm not used to me. So there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, the fact of the matter is I'm human. I have problems. I have conditions. And as I've plainly demonstrated, vices. But I know me well enough to know that after these 2 cigarettes and a larger than it should be lunch, I'll be fine. I'll be over it. Time will march forward. Hopefully, hopefully. Tomorrow is better. And I can only pray, even though I'm not really one for structured Western prayer, that any of the efforts I've made at finding a job lately will come to some beneficial end. Because I need to be working. It is a basic part of who I am, that I need to be productive. I need to be working, and I need to be doing something to pay for my own existence. Because I don't like relying on other people. I don't like living off of someone else. Because that just puts me one step closer to being my mother. And that's the most horrible result I could ever get to. Fingers crossed.